Hare Krishna. Now we are continuing with Gopāla Campū, chapter 9, entering Vrindavana. Another day, when the assembly gathered, Nanda said, "Oh dear Snigdhakanta, these two trees attain bodies like devatas according to their desire. What were those trees in a previous life? From where did they come and how did they come to Vraja?" Snigdhakanta said, "These two were born from the friend of Shiva, Kuvera, lord of the Yakshas, lord of the city of Alaka. When they showed arrogance to Narada, Narada scolded them. He showed mercy to them. Though they became trees, they also became devotees of the Lord. They remained as Yamala Arjuna trees. They remained as Yamala Arjuna trees near your future house in Mahavana. Attaining their planet, they became great devotees. They revealed the results of bhakti." Nanda said curiously, "Please tell the story. Where are they now?" Bowing his lotus face, Snigdhakanta remained silent and glanced at Madhukanta. Nanda said, "Why are you reluctant to speak?" Snigdhakanta said with respect, "What can we say? You will come to know all of this by yourself." With a smile, Nanda said, "True, what you have said will be repetitious. By your silence, you give us the answer. By this means, we can know. Anyway, you should make us happy by speaking it yourself." Snigdhakanta said, "We are the two to whom Narada gave good results and knowledge by his mercy." Hearing this, all the people headed by Nanda called them and again mingled with them happily and eagerly. Seating the two amongst them, they gazed at them. After these questions, Madhukanta again spoke as it was his turn. "5 days after the remarkable events, Upananda went to his house and inquired from his wife, 'Did you go to the house of Nanda today?' His wife replied, 'What more can be said? Who can remain steady without going to his house? What to speak of persons like us who are related to him?' Upananda said, 'If something special happened, please tell me.' His wife said, 'The person who has great prema also has great fear. Having eyes is full of worry, unlike having ears or other sense organs. Though protected by their fearful mothers who performed faultless Garbhadhana samskara, the two boys cause great disturbance since no one can be fully satisfied with when they see the two boys play. For instance, here what happened today. Yashoda was busy preparing Nanda's meal along with her relatives. Rohini was helping. The two boys went far away, considering the nurses to be an obstacle for their fun. When the nurses focused on other work for a moment, the two boys hid in a place invisible to their roving glances. Then by playful deceit, they ran to a far-off place. Then they played noisily with their shouting friends. The nurses engaged to protect them realized after a few moments that they had been cheated and quickly went searching for them. Calling their names for a long time, they finally gave up and informed Yashoda and Rohini what had happened. The two boys went far off to a place where the river was very deep. Hearing this, Yashoda sent Rohini to bring them back. Perhaps some trees like the Yamalajana trees impelled by evil persons or the course of the river will block their path. Please quickly go there while I cook without interruption." With troubled body and mind, Rohini went there and called to Krishna, breaker of the Arjuna trees, who was playing on the bank of the river. Krishna, absorbed in play and controlling the boys, did not heed her call, and had Balarama also ignored her. Giving up, she returned home and sent his mother, for whom Krishna. When she went there, she saw Krishna playing with Balarama and other boys. She called him while milk flowed from her breast like rain. She did not approach immediately, fearing Krishna would flee. Please taste the sweetness of her calling. Krishna Krishnara Vindakshatartha Yehi Stanam Piba Alam Vihare Kshanata Shanta Krida Shrantosi Putraka. My dear son Krishna, lotus-eyed Krishna, come here and drink the milk of my breast. My dear darling, you must be very tired because of hunger and the fatigue of playing so long. Because of hunger and the fatigue of playing so long. There's no need to play anymore. SB 10.11.15. He did not come since he was intent on winning in competition, but she was determined. She thought that Balarama, an object of equal affection, would heed her words with respect and shouted to him tenderly, Hey Rama, Rama Gacha Tatashu Sanjana Sanuja Kulanandana Pratar Eva Kritahara Tat Bhavan Bhok Pratikshate Tvam Dashara Bokshyamano Vrajadipa Yehi E Avayoha Priyam Dehi Grahan Yata Balaka. Nanda Maharaja, the king of Vraja, is now waiting to eat. Oh, my dear son Balarama is waiting for you. Therefore, come back to please us. Nanda Maharaja, the king of Vraja, is now waiting to eat. Oh, my dear son Balarama is waiting for you. Therefore, come back to please us. All the boys playing with you and Krishna should now go to their homes. Should now go to their homes. SB 10.11.16 to 17. After she attracted Balarama in order to make Krishna give up playing and became joyful, she spoke with eagerness. After she attracted Balarama in order to make Krishna give up playing, after she attracted Balarama in order to make Krishna give up playing and became joyful, she spoke with eagerness. Dhuli dusara. Dhuli dusaritangas tvam tata majjanam avaha janmaksham te bhavati viprebhyo dehi gaha shuchi. My dear son, playing all day, your body has become covered with dust and sand. Therefore, come back, take your bath and cleanse yourself. Therefore, come back, take your bath and cleanse yourself. Today the moon is co-joined with the auspicious star of your birth. Therefore, come back, take your bath and cleanse yourself. Today the moon is co-joined with the auspicious star of your birth. Today the moon is co-joined with the auspicious star of your birth. Today the moon is co-joined with the auspicious star of your birth. Therefore, be pure and give cows in charity to the Brahmanas. SB 10.11.18. 18. Seeing other boys coming from their houses at that time, our desire to take him home increased. Pashya Pashya Vayashyam Ste Matra Mrishtan Swalankritan Tvam Chasnatha Kritaharo Viharasva Swalankrita. She said, just see how all your playmates of your own age have been cleansed and decorated with beautiful ornaments by their mothers. Cleansed and decorated with beautiful ornaments by their mothers. You should come here, and after you have taken your bath, you should come here. And after you have taken your bath, eaten your lunch, and been decorated with ornaments, you may play with your friends again. SB 10.11.19. From infancy, Krishna was raised under the protection of the Brahmanas. He thus stopped his play to give charity to Brahmanas, attracting him with their calling. She then approached him gently and holding both their arms, she brought them home. Just as Brahmanas chant mantras along with worship of devatas to drive away evil spirits, Yashoda, though telling a lie when she mentioned that it was his birthday constellation day, produced great joy as if it were his birthday. Hearing her words, omniscient Upananda began to reflect. The two aged mothers have anxiety for their sons, for this land seems to be surrounded by evil men. I will go to Nanda's assembly and raise this issue for consideration. His wife said, you should again discuss your concern. The cowards met in the assembly of Nanda, the shelter of all present, within the covered village of Braja filled with cows. Within the covered village of Braja filled with cows. They discussed why protecting the cows was not being properly done at that place. By living a long time in Mahavana, all the trees have been destroyed. But those who were elder in years and wisdom, as well as Upananda, endowed with prema for Balaram and Krishna, again attained great bliss by Krishna's presence. Krishna decorated by a house. So Krishna decorated the beds of their laps most wonderfully, and Krishna decorated the bed of their laps most wonderfully, and holding his chin, asked fake questions. Krishna decorated the bed of their laps most wonderfully, and holding his chin, asked fake questions. He moved about to get various objects as toys. Nanda then spoke nicely and was in favor of protecting all the children after seeing the worrisome state of Nanda while living in Mahavana. Upananda then spoke nicely and was in favor of protecting all the children after seeing the worrisome state of Nanda while living in Mahavana. Was in favor of protecting all the children after seeing the worrisome state of Nanda while living in Mahavana. After seeing the worrisome state of Nanda while living in Mahavana. He spoke, though you all say that we should not stay here in the interest of cow herding, I say we should not stay in the interest of the young children. Though you all say that we should not stay here in the interest of cow herding, I say we should not stay here in the interest of the young children. Though Nanda's son is being protected with great care, since many accidents have occurred, what other reason do we need for living here? When misfortune occur, we are protected by the Supreme Lord, but it's not proper to make the Lord act on our behalf. A person who's moving considers both the place being given up and the place being accepted. He gives up the place which gives grief and accepts the place which gives happiness. That place is unsuitable, which gives sorrow to in this life and the next. Mahavana is now giving us sorrow on a daily basis. One should take shelter of that place which gives happiness in this life and the next. The forest of Vrindavana gives the highest happiness and is most pure. In Vrindavana, there is the mountain called Govardhana. It provides everything for the cows and cowards. The cowards pay their taxes to the forest since they are not restricted like towns. In going from one forest to another, the king's permission is already granted. One must consider which activities will give happiness or fear. One must act quickly if no one will delay settle. One must consider which activities will give happiness or fear. One must act quickly, for if one delays, there will be increased fear. If you agree, we should leave this place without being lethargic. Whatever effort is put into an action produces a quick result. If by my reasoning is pleasing to you, it's good. For if there is agreement on an object being investigated, it will produce great benefit. If you agree to this proposal, have the cows give milk into their calves to full satisfaction, them off to Vrindavana. If you agree to this proposal, have the cows give milk to their calves to full satisfaction and set them off to Vrindavana. Then household utensils should be packed up and the carts with tent covers should be engaged. For in going to another place, such tents are well known among the cowards. Without argument, the cowards accepted his words. When seeds are sown on proper soil, the sprout and the bear and the sprout and bear fruit and not otherwise. Or without argument, the cowards accepted his words. When seeds are sown on proper soil, they sprout and bear fruit and not otherwise. With the rumbling of drums, they called out, let's inform Paunamasi, send her first and then come. With the rumbling of drums, they all called out, let us inform Paunamasi, see her first and then move the village. Then that sound, Ghosha, confirmed their with the rumbling of drums, they all called out, let's inform Paunamasi, send her first and then move to the village. That sound, Gosha, confirmed their name, Gosha cowards. When cows and humans make a loud noise and when they reside together, Gosha. There arose many indistinct sounds along with cries to the cows, hee hee, jihi, jihi. The rumbling of the carts and sounds of musical instruments obscured all other sounds. Placing the elders in the carts holding boughs, the cowards gravely departed with the walking cows. When all the carts moved together, they made a rattling sound. People looking so far off has seen many also. When all the carts moved together, they made a rattling sound. People looking from afar, seeing the carts with tent arrangements, said that there arose many indistinct sounds along with cries to the cows, hee, jihi, jihi. The rumbling of the carts and sounds of musical instruments obscured all other sounds. Placing the elders in the carts holding boughs, the cowards gravely departed with the walking cows. When all the carts moved together, they made a rattling sound. People looking after her people looking from afar, seeing the carts with tent arrangements, said that it looked like a moving village. On the roads, called, some answered, some went back and then forward. Some were taking care of their relatives, always singing the pastimes of baby Krishna while shedding tears, becoming stunned. On the road, some ran, some called, some answered, some went back and then forward. Some were taking care of themselves, all were singing the pastimes of baby Krishna while shedding tears, becoming stunned, perspiring, developing goosebumps and changing colors. Becoming stunned, perspiring, developing goosebumps and changing complexion. The women wearing new clothing mounted the carts and began singing with bliss and loud voice. O son, O son of King Nanda, O son of Yashoda, from birth you have increased bliss. You give bliss to all your relatives. You drank poison which lost its effects by touching you. By your mercy, you do not accept others' faults. You became blissful on breaking the cart. You're good luck for Gokula. You're pleasurable by having many names. You always play with Balarama. You play in the yard by crawling around. You play together with your friends. You overcame Trinavarta. You overcame Trinavarta. You gave bliss to Nanda. You take pleasure in releasing the calves. You give happiness and fame to the people of Raja. Your thieving gives joy to all and shows your great courage. You perform pastimes of being tied up and give happiness to all by your nature. While singing and desiring to see Krishna, they proceeded quickly. Tada Yashoda Rohinya Ekam Shakatam Astite Rejatu Krishna Ramabhyam Tat Katha Shravanotsuke. Thus, hearing about the pastimes of Krishna and Balarama with great pleasure, Mother Yashoda and Rohini, so as not to be separated from Krishna and Balarama for even a moment, got up with them on one bullock cart. In this situation, they all look very beautiful. SB 10.11.34. Thus, hearing about the past. Thus, hearing about the pastimes of Krishna and Balarama with great pleasure, Mother Yashoda and Rohini, so as not to be separated from Krishna and Balarama for even a moment, got up with them on one bullock cart. In this situation, beautiful. SB 10.11.34. On the cart, the two women sat in the house like cart, shining gold and inlaid with jewels, having soft, clean pillows inside and made brilliant by the effulgence of Krishna. The topics of discussion were of two types: topics concerning Krishna and topics introduced by Krishna. Speaking about Krishna, all the women who went beside the cart pleased the two mothers unlimitedly with known and unknown pastimes of the two boys. Prema took on a most surprising form. All topics filled with prema were as if unknown previously. Krishna said, "Oh mother, where is everyone going?" His mother said, "Oh son, we are going to a forest called Vrindavana." Krishna said, his mother said, "Oh son, we are going to a forest called Vrindavana." Krishna said, "Oh mother, where is everyone going?" His mother said, "Oh son, we are going to a forest called Vrindavana." Krishna said, "When will we go home?" His mother said with a smile, "We are taking our house with us." Krishna said, "How can that be explained?" Balarama said, "Oh Krishna, these big carts which are like houses with places lower down for coaches are coming with us." Krishna, looking with astonishment, touched Balarama and laughed. He said, "You have spoken the truth, since the trees standing far away are also moving." His mother and Rohini said with a smile, "Oh son, the trees are not going anywhere but only appear to be moving." Krishna said enthusiastically, "That's all right. But where is Vrindavana?" Rohini said, "Oh son, it's across the Yamuna river." Balarama said, "We have left the Yamuna far behind. Is there another Yamuna in front of us?" His mother said, "Oh son, the river never divides at all." Balarama looked at his mother's face with joy and astonishment. Krishna said, "But you did not consider that the river moves just like the trees in the distance." When the two mothers laughed in joy, Krishna again spoke with eagerness, "Oh little mother, what abundant joy exists in Vrindavana for which we make such endeavors." Rohini said, "Oh son, there are many places for playing and many things to play with." Joyfully ornamenting the lap of Balarama like a spotless moon, with his dark complexion, Krishna, raising himself up with affection for his limbs, raised his head and then looked at Balarama's face. Laughing, he joyfully rolled out. Balarama, raising his head and revealing jubilant pastimes, made Krishna laugh for a long time. They approached a forest joyful with the touch of the breeze mixed with the waves of the Yamuna. Listening to the conversation of the two mothers, Krishna stood up and joined Balarama. He talked to the comical elders with no teeth, saying, "What you say is not correct," while seeing known and unknown trees, animals and birds. Asking about this and receiving answers, they arrived at a pleasant forest on the bank of the Yamuna. Asking about these and receiving answers, they arrived at a pleasant forest on the bank of the Yamuna. The questions and answers. What is that tree with all its leaves quivering? It is a pipala tree. What is that tree with millions of buds? It's an Udumbara tree. What is that with long locks of hair over there? It's a banyan tree. In this way, on entering the new forest, the mothers and children talked. This talk gave joy to all people by its showers of sweetness. What are those brown and black animals jumping around? Those are deer. What is that animal, which is a mixture of a buffalo and a horse? That's known as a Rohisha deer. What are those animals which with branch like horns? Those are Sambara deer. The son of Nanda, along with Balarama, remains glorious as he asks the names of animals from his mother. The son of Nanda, along with Balarama, remains glorious. The son of Nanda, along with Balarama, remains glorious as he asks the names of animals from his mother. What is that colored bird? That's a peacock. What is that softly cooing bird? That's a cuckoo. What is the bird talking like a human? That's a parrot. What is that thing going to the flowers? That's a bee. In this way, the two boys talked to their mothers while going to the new forest and laughed. They showered the women of Raja with waves of bliss. The inhabitants of Raja then arrived at the bank of the Yamuna, which became crowded with the carts and cows. When they desired to cross, they wandered about making sweet sounds as they talked to each other. When they desired to cross the river, they wandered about making sweet sounds as they talked to each other. The two then left their mothers and went to the high cart of their father. Because of its height, with joyful eyes, they saw Vrindavana giving joy with its wildlife, and they saw the river beautiful with blue lotuses. Nanda and others began talking among themselves. Oh, that forest across the river from here is most beautiful. It's like a cloth of various colors whose edge is carried as a reflection by the Yamuna. Nanda and others began talking among themselves. Oh, that forest across the river from here is most beautiful. It's like a cloth of various colors whose edge is carried as a reflection by the Yamuna. It is like a cloth of various colors whose edge is carried as a reflection by the Yamuna. Vrindavana has a wonderful flow of sweetness. Vrindavana has a wonderful flow of sweetness, like a showering cloud with lightning and a rainbow because of its red, yellow, and white flowers. From far off, it releases a shower of nectar. Vrindavana has a wonderful flow of sweetness, like a showering cloud with lightning. Vrindavana has a wonderful flow of sweetness, like a showering cloud with lightning and a rainbow because of its red, yellow, and white flowers. From far off, it releases a shower of nectar. Its rare fragrance attracts the bees from the heavenly planets. Vrindavana is like a householder welcoming guests, attracting them from afar by its fragrance. Vrindavan is like a householder welcoming guests, attracting them from afar by its fragrance. The noise created by the various cries of birds, like an attracting mantra, whose subject is Krishna, created by the various cries of birds, like an attracting mantra whose subject is Krishna, attracts living beings which have ears, though they do not know the meaning of the cries, attracts living beings which have ears, though they do not know the meaning of the cries. though they do not know the meaning of the cries. When Krishna and Balarama began to see and hear all of this, the cowherd men prepared for the cows to cross the river. When Krishna and Balarama began to see and hear all of this, the cowherd men prepared for the cows to cross the river. At the time of crossing the bank, the water of the Yamuna became filled with cows in a moment. When the cows had crossed the river, the cowards and the women come down from the covered carts along with the furniture and crafted a boat. The women come down. When the cows had crossed the river, the cowards had the women come down from the covered carts along with the furniture and crafted a boat like bridge, like a highway, using great skill with kasha, kusha, shara, reeds, and bamboo bound together. When the bridge reached from one side to the other, the people who were on one side became the inhabitants of the other side, which was the space between Mathura and Kalia's lake. Singing, laughing, and playing, they entered Vrindavana with the carts. It is said, Vrindavanam sampravishya sarvakala sukhavaham tatra chakrur vrajavasam shakater ardhar chandravat. Tatra chakrur, singing, laughing, and playing, they entered Vrindavana with the carts. It is said, Vrindavanam sampravishya sarvakala sukhavaham tatra chakrur vrajavasam shakater ardhar chandravat. In this way, we entered Vrindavana, where it is always pleasing to live in all seasons. They became a temporary, they made a temporary place to inhabit by placing their bullock carts around them in a shape of a half moon. SB 10.11.35. They made a temporary place to inhabit by placing the bullock carts around them in the shape of a place, in the shape of a half moon. SB 10.11.55. With great enthusiasm and eagerness, Krishna and Balarama jumped down from the cart near the bank of the river, calling their friends with long and short cries, putting them behind. They entered the pure, colorful forest. The two experienced bliss and raised on the shoulders of relatives and being carried around along with his friends. They associated with animals having auspicious marks and went from Vatsa Krida on the bank of the Yamuna to Satvika with the Satikara. From Yamuna to Satikara, from Yamuna to Satikara. With the sound of drums and the order of Nanda with Satikara in the west and facing the northeast, they stopped at a level area devoid of trees. With the sound of drums and the order of Nanda with Satikara in the west and facing the southeast, they stopped at a level area beyond the trees. With great enthusiasm and eagerness, Krishna and Balarama jumped down from the cart near the bank of the river, calling their friends with long and short cries, putting them behind. With great eagerness and with great enthusiasm and eagerness, Krishna and Balarama jumped down from the cart near the bank of the river, calling their friends with long and short cries. Putting them behind, they entered the pure, colorful forest. Looking left and right, they began walking. How can this be described? On entering the forest, Krishna always says, looking left and right, they began walking. How can this be described? On entering the forest, Krishna, perceiving it, touched it and made it blissful. How can this be described? On entering the forest, Krishna, perceiving it, touched it and made it blissful. Poets ascribing human attributes describe that forest as long as poets ascribing human attributes. On entering the forest, Krishna, perceiving it, touched it and made it blissful. Poets ascribing human attributes describe that forest as singing through the calls of the cuckoo, dancing by the dancing by the movements of the creepers, and developing goosebumps in its sprouting buds. This is true since the forest reacted in this way by the touch of Krishna's feet. This will be confirmed later. With Govardhana visible from the eastern gate, they built houses near a line of trees. Though they had given up fine houses, the covered houses they built now were not inferior to the previous houses. I don't know. The covered village measured 8 kroshas. The cow pastures within it measured 4.5 kroshas. Though this measurement is accepted by material eyes, the place was actually inconceivable in its potency. Though this measurement is accepted by material eyes, the place was actually inconceivable in its potency. In this house, on its sides were his brothers' houses. Around those were many other people's houses. As the houses in the middle was Nanda's house. On his sides were his brothers' houses. Along those were many other people's houses. Their houses were arranged according to the amount of their prema. As previously, they all experienced unprecedented bliss on coming here. The two boys, anxious to play, had a very strong desire to see the forest again. Every day, the two wandered around in the forest and rendered everyone. As previously, they all experienced unprecedented bliss on getting the name. The two boys, anxious to play, had a very strong desire to see the forest again. Day the two wandered around in the spirit of Sajiva Karma. As previously, they all experienced unprecedented bliss on coming there. The two boys, anxious to play, had a very strong desire to see the forest again. Every day, the two wandered around in the forest with their father, herding the cows. Vrindavanam Govardhanam Yamuna Pulinani cha Vikshasid Uttama Priti Rama Madhavayor Nripa. When Rama and Krishna saw Vrindavana, Govardhana and the banks of the river Yamuna, they both enjoyed great pleasure. With great absorption, When Rama and Krishna saw Vrindavana, Govardhana on the banks of the river Yamuna, they both enjoyed great pleasure. SB 10.11.36. All the banks of the Yamuna with their natural areas, surpassing fields of camphor, Govardhana with piles of rocks suitable for sitting and lying down. All the banks of the Yamuna with the natural areas, surpassing fields of camphor, piles of rocks suitable for sitting and lying down, and the jeweled earth of Vrindavana with its Madhukanta, having finished, folded his hands and spoke. O king of the cowards, you have given birth to a son who, though acting as a child, maintains the universe. When Krishna's passions were thus broadcast as on previous days, all experienced unlimited bliss and then returned to their houses. When Krishna's passions were thus broadcast, as on the previous day, all experienced unlimited bliss and then returned to their houses. Hare Krishna, we will end here and we will continue tomorrow. Today we have completed chapter 9. Hare Krishna.